Okay, now I'm going to put the seal in. We got the cover clean, got the inside out here nice and cleaned out. I use this blue RTV. Just going to put a light little coat right in here. Might not need it, but I don't want to take this off again. Actually, I never want to take it off again. It's so much easier doing this off the car versus when the motor's in the car and you have to get past the radiator and struggle. Okay. So I'm just going to use a little piece of wood so I don't damage it at all. See, once you get it going, it's okay. It's just a little difficult sometimes. Okay, we'll put the cover on. But you see, I put this blue RTV on here, blue RTV, because I don't want to take any chances. Don't want to take this apart again. So I glue everything. Some people don't use it, I do. I'll take the gasket, just lay it over all these holes. And I'll just lay it right over the top of these. There's no way this is going to leak. Okay, now this is nicely cleaned off. The cover is all RTV'd up. Put it right over here. There's the two dowel pins. One on one side, one on the other. Then we'll just put all the bolts in, tighten them up. Okay, now what you do, if you get them all snug, you tighten them up just a little bit. Remember, don't overdo it because you'll break the bolts. Okay, cover's on, the seal's on. Okay, now we're going to install the water pump. And I make sure I put enough of it on. I put on both sides the gasket. gonna put a little oil on the bolts so they go in easy. The last one. Okay, that's the water pump installed. Okay, here's our oil pump, and what happens is the new ones don't come with a pickup, so we're going to have to take these off. So I'll just put it in a vise and sort of twist it off. There it comes. Now we'll have to install the new one. Okay, now with the new oil pump, make sure you go try it on the engine so you know which way this goes. Okay, in this particular case, it's going to bolt onto the engine. This is the back part on the rear main, and this is where the oil pan goes. So want it to be fairly level. Just use an open end wrench here. We want this to go all the way down there. We don't want this falling off at all. If this falls off, you're hosed. Okay, that seems to take care of that. You'll see what I was talking about right in here. Wanted all that. Want to make sure there's no gap here. Want to make this lines up with the motor. So there's just one little thing we have to do is put this little plastic thing on here, and then we can install this on the engine. Okay, we flipped the motor back over. Now we're going to install the oil pump. But before we have to install this little extension, this goes in this part. This goes in the distributor up on the top. So as the distributor turns, this gear goes on the camshaft, which turns the oil pump. So let's just tap this in here. As you see, it's got a little slot. This has got a little slot. So, okay, that's all that's required. Now it goes down in this hole. Sets right on there. Bolt it right in, and we'll torque it. .65. Okay, now we'll go to put the pan on. Alright, this one we'll put the oil pan on. Okay, make sure these are nice and clean. There's two rubbers. One goes on the front. This in there. This other one goes on the back. And here it goes on the side. What I'm going to do, this will go under here because this is a flat piece. But on the back side, what happens here, this one has a little notch right in here. This also has a little notch, so it just fits right in there. Fits right in here like this. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to glue these down. At least one side. And that'll be to the block. And especially down here where the two seals meet. Now this tube is the dipstick. So you can tell how much oil is in the oil pan. Of course, I'll put a little bit more here in the corner. Got that right in there. Because I don't want it to leak. Just set that right on there. Make sure all the holes line up. Okay, now we'll do the other side. Put extra on the end. Okay, in this particular case, what I'm going to do is put some right here on this seal also. Put some on the ends. Okay. Stick that in there. Make sure all the holes line up. In the corner. Okay, now we'll set the seal in. I'll put just a little bit more over here. Both sides. And I'll do the same with the seal. Put it on the sides and also in this little tab. On both sides. Here's the back. Here's that little tab goes right in there. Same thing with this side. Okay, we have the gaskets on here. They're glued down nicely in place. Edges are okay. All the holes line up. Okay, everything is clean. Water pump is installed. Oil pump is installed. Torque down. Okay, so it's time to button this up. Okay, notice inside here they have a well. This is where the oil pump sits. When all the oil is dripping from all the action, it goes in here, seeps down between, and it comes here, and then it gets pumped right back through. Okay, so all the surfaces are nice and clean. Just set this right down. So with the oil pan here installed, let's do the four corners first. Remember, the four corners are 1/2 inch and everybody else is 7/16. Do the two back ones. This is so nice to do this on an engine stand versus underneath the car, looking up while the grease and everything else falling down on you. Okay, they're all in there. Now let's tighten them up. Now remember, don't tighten them too tight because you'll break them. Okay, then we'll just go along side, this side. Okay, and one more. Okay, that's it. Look at that. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Okay, the last thing we have to do is put the intake manifold on. So we have these two gaskets that go to the side, and these two little rubber ones that go one on the front, one on the back. So I guess we'll just start with the front one. Oh, and also they have these little holes here in the block. It also has these little whatever that go inside these holes. So once again, I'm going to get out my trusty blue RTV. You don't need it all over, but you need it on the front and the back. So I just don't want it to leak. So set that one down. Then I'm going to put some more of this on the top. Okay, now I'm going to do the back one. Same type of deal. Got these little holes. It's got these little rubber things that come out. There we go. Okay, now we can set this gasket right on top. Set it right in place. And this one will go the same. All the holes line up. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay, I'm going to just gently set this right down. Okay, all the holes line up. Front rubber looks good. What about the back one? Back one looks really good. It's set right in place. Okay, now we'll just put the bolts on. Put a little oil on the bolts so they go in easier. Okay, not all the way. Gotta wait till we get a couple of these in. Okay, we have all the bolts in. So the next thing is to torque these down. Got our torque wrench to 30. There's one. Okay, we'll torque this one. There's 30. 30. Okay, now that the manifold's on, we should put the valve covers on. Okay, the last thing to go on over here is the vibration damper. Notice it's got a slot here. It's got a key. The key goes in here on a crankshaft. Just like that, and that key lines up with this slot. Just like that. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. All set. The other thing I'm going to do, since I'm right here, I got a little bit of house paint. So just a little dab there, and then also on these markers. That way when I use the timing light, it'll be real easy. to see this stuff. So between there and putting those little marks right there, after all the work is done, we'll make it look brand new, just like it came out of the factory. I put the oil holder on so that I don't get the area where the steel goes painted. I just don't leave that regular steel. Cover those trees out, bud. Okay, now for the good part. Got everything taped off. You don't want to spray. Put a little masking tape over that. Now remember, we're not going to coat this all in one time. So, we're going to put this coat on and we're going to wait for it to dry, then we'll come back and do it again. Because we don't want it to run and look crappy. Especially since we put this much time and effort into it. Do the water pump. We'll scrape it off later on. This is where the engine block numbers are. Okay, so we'll just continue to do the whole thing. We'll flip it back on the other side. And do all the heads over again. It'll look great. Okay, I have two little bolts here, bolted onto the block. Okay, there's one. Okay, there's two. Okay, now we'll get the exhaust manifold. Get these bolts ready to go. Put the washers on them. We also have our gaskets that we'll put on. But first, let's just get the manifold up in here. Jiggle it into position. We'll get all the bolts started first. Okay, and then we'll pull it back away and stick in all the gaskets. They just slide right on in. Just like that. Okay, now we just have to torque them to 20. There's 20. 20. Okay, remember we have these little tabs, we have to tap those over. There we are. Heat shields, manifolds. Okay, now let's do the other side. Okay, the first thing I want to do is we do on the other side, but we'll have to go back and do it, is install these motor mounts. Once again, this is so simple to put on now, but if it's in the car, underneath everything, it gets cut. Now remember, on the frame, there's another part here, and this long bolt will go through here, connecting it to the frame. The frame, the bolt, goes to the motor. Here's one, here's the other. Remember how I said it was important to label these? And now, put the manifold on. Sneak it in between those heat shields. And remember, this had this odd bracket because of the air conditioning. These two with the tabs in the end. Okay, and then this other bracket. This is for the alternate power steering, must be. Okay, that started. There's one. There's two. Okay, let's tighten these up. And this last one here. Oh, we're short one bolt. Okay, I'll knock these tabs over, get this other bolt, that takes care of this side. Okay, two more little things. Remember this guy. This is our clutch mechanism. The last two brackets to be installed are for the air conditioner. The one on the front bolts directly to the front of the cylinder head, and I have the 3 locations circled in green. The rear bracket bolts onto the intake manifold. So that basically completes the entire assembly of the engine. In this picture you'll see that the engine is on a hoist, and there's a chain bolted to the front of the engine and to the back to put it into the car after we install the bell housing, the flywheel, the clutch, the pressure plate,